What a desperate, miserable performance we saw from Boro against Chelsea on Saturday. Totally unacceptable, really, and you can't understand why and how it should happen that way. Nobody had any doubts before the game that Chelsea were strong favourites to win it. They were 2-1 on with the bookies. You can't argue with that. But what you are looking for in these circumstances is a thoroughly committed team performance, with everybody getting stuck in and wanting the ball, running around and doing whatever you're supposed to do as a professional footballer. We didn't see very much of that at all. In fact, I felt that Middlesbrough really didn't fancy the battle from maybe the second or third minute onwards. The first time they were cut apart by Chelsea, you felt that they felt, we don't fancy this, we don't want to go ahead with this, and we had another 88 minutes of agony, really. It was always a matter of how many, and probably the saving grace was that Chelsea took the foot off the accelerator in the final 25 minutes, because if they'd kept going at the pace they were in the second half, then Boro would have been facing 8 or 9, which would have been... we'd have had us all looking at the record books. As it was, 5-0 at home is embarrassing against anybody. It doesn't matter whether it's Chelsea, Man U, Arsenal or whoever. Totally unacceptable, as I say, and really there has to be a rapid improvement, because a lot of people went along expecting to see a committed Boro performance. Nearly 30,000 crowd there. Those fans have a right to expect better than that. And if it continues like this, then, as we say, the storm clouds will be gathering over the riverside this season, and we'll be looking to a cold winter and a winter of discontent and another season of struggle. Totally unacceptable. Things have to improve. Very easy to point the fingers. You can point the finger at everybody. All the players are on the pitch, and the manager and the coaching staff. I know that Gareth Southgate said that at 5-3 he didn't see it coming. He felt that everybody was prime, knew what job they had to do, but in fact it all fell away very quickly. The manager tried a system of 4-4-1-1, left Afonso Alves out and had Jeremy Aliadier playing behind Mido. The manager said that the plan was really to use Aliadier's pace, and I believe he could cause Chelsea problems. As it was, Aliadier did nothing, but neither did anybody else. The ball very rarely went up front, other than long clearances from the back, and came back to them very quickly. The midfield were awful, to be absolutely honest. Didn't put a foot in, and it meant that the guys who saw most of the action were the back five. Again, not much to talk about there. I thought Chris Riggett probably came out of it with a bit of credit. David Wheater looked totally jaded after the unnecessary trip to Belarus, as we thought he would. The two young full-backs struggled desperately. Chelsea's game plan was to come at Boro down the flanks, and they did it so well, it was almost embarrassing. John Grounds played out of position, of course, on the right, and he was taken off early in the second half, and we saw John Johnson come on to make his debut. What an experience for that lad, one he'll never forget, but for all the wrong reasons. Ross Turnbull probably to blame only for one of the goals, which probably didn't make any difference. You would hope he doesn't lose his place as a result of it. But overall, nobody put a foot in, and that's the big problem. If you have 2 or 3 players not competing, then the team doesn't have a chance. If you have 8 or 9 players not competing, then you're going to be overwhelmed and murdered and destroyed, and that's exactly what happened. A lot of pressure on Gareth Southgate now and his coaching staff to turn things around. Obviously, the first thing to do is get everybody together for a meeting, clear the air talks, and attempt to put behind you, while at the same time learning lessons. For me, there's one big lesson to be learned, and that's if you don't compete in any Premiership game, then you get destroyed. And that's what we saw. Competition is everything, attitude is everything, but not a bad attitude that we saw against Chelsea. There has to be a good attitude. I think, to be absolutely fair, that there are a lot of good, honest lads within the team, and I think they will be hurt by that, and that's really what you do have to see. I do think there'll be a rebound performance against Blackburn. It's a tough game because you're away from home, no easy games in the Premiership, but this is a nitty-gritty game at Blackburn, and it's one that Boro are quite capable of bouncing back in. And but it's up to Southgate to ensure that the players are fully primed, that nothing goes wrong after the first 2 or 3 minutes on this occasion. The manager does have to freshen things up at the same time, and he does have to look at the possibility of bringing in some of the players who were left out. We had £20 million worth of 2008 signings on the bench against Chelsea in Alves, Didier Degarde and Marvin Emnes. Maybe Southgate can consider bringing those players back. The one player quite clearly who will be back is Emmanuel Pogatetz. He completed a 3-match ban against Chelsea, and his enthusiasm alone, his leadership qualities will make a difference. But a lot of work ahead this week for Southgate. It's his job to make sure that everybody's looking in the right direction, fully focused, and it's a test of his managerial capabilities as it is of the players to show that they've got some sort of bottle that so they can grasp the nettle and start to produce again. A long season still lying ahead, but Boro have to learn from this defeat very quickly.